apparently nobody. It's unfathomable what I watched on Saturday night offensively, and I think you agree because
3 weeks in a row.
If I watched SEC tonight, starring Chris Doering, by the way, scorched earth on the Gators.
Well, good thing for me is that my record is safe. There's no receivers that are going to be coming anywhere close to that in this offense, so I'm in good shape there.
That is true.
Yeah, how, Chris? Give me your educated opinion on how a guy can be so stubborn to the point that he kills his own career. This is just so emblematic of this nonsense that we've experienced for the last 4 years. No adjustments in a game, or in this case, a career adjustment.
I have to imagine there's something more going on, and obviously we'll get into talking about DJ Lagway being in the boot. I don't know what else he's dealing with, but the play calling with the throws at or around the line of scrimmage, there's something has to be going on with DJ's ability to throw the ball. And if that's the case, I'm not sure why he's out there. It certainly is a disservice to the rest of the players on the offense and a disservice to himself because he's not nearly the same quarterback that we saw last year. And I know there's a lot of things going on with other people around him underperforming, but I have to imagine something is not right with DJ. And then, to see what Florida was capable of doing on one drive. The rhythm that was created, the picking up 80 of the 141 yards you create the whole night on offense, and to see what you're capable of, but not capable of doing consistently was also frustrating. And you go back to the stubbornness. My understanding is that he was kept last year with the understanding that somebody was going to take over the play calling duties, and then after a 5-game stretch where you win to close out the season, that somehow changed, despite people in the athletic department wanting that to be given over to somebody else. So yeah, stubbornness is a great description of kind of what we've witnessed over the last probably 8-9 months.
As a competitor, Chris, if DJ Lagway can't throw deep because of injury or whatever, and again, just speculating, I have no idea, why would he want to be out there? Because he's destroying his own career in front of our eyes.
Yeah, I think sometimes, I respect it to a degree, the desire to be out there to perform for your teammates, the desire to push yourself to see what you can accomplish. And, it's hard not being out there when everybody else is playing. And, again, we are speculating, but maybe there's some aspect to that's the new dynamic is the NIL situation. Like, does your compensation change if you're not playing?
Right.
Chris, I was still looking for some good vacation destinations this fall. Do you got any places in the mountains I could go maybe October 4th or someplace at the beach October 11th? In all seriousness, what is Gator fan, what does he embrace here? Right? Is that a fair question?
It's gotten worse. Like we've come on here the last couple of weeks thinking that it's got to get better, and to see that. And the thing that pisses me off the most, and I've talked to you guys about it before, the Miami-Florida rivalry meant so much to me as a young Gator growing up here, being the son of two Florida grads that grew up in Miami, and so we don't get to play them much. And to think that these 2 years against Miami, which who knows when we'll play them again. It was we put one of the least competitive teams out there in each of these last matchups. That's going to count forever on that series record, and we kind of got to live with taking losses where we just got physically manhandled. And I know for a fact that the talent on the roster, it's not that big of a disparity between what Miami has and what Florida has. I'd argue that Florida has the talent to have won every game on the schedule so far this season and every game that remains on the schedule. It'd be one thing if you didn't have talent, you're trying to play around that, you're having to use smoke and mirrors, but like Florida has the talent to compete with everybody that they play, and it just the competitive, it hadn't even been there. That was probably the most frustrating. And going forward, you wonder, you talk about how much this team stayed together last year, rallied, and won 5 games to end the season. Like, I don't think that's happening again. I think you're going to see some capitulation from some of these players. Maybe I'm wrong about it, but I have to imagine the dynamic in the locker room between the offense and the defense. There's some resentment there, and I also, you hear all these stories about players being upset with DJ for not practicing or whatever. Like, I don't know what the truth is to all of that, but
right.
It has a chance to get worse from where we are here, which, to your point, makes it feel like we need to start scheduling some fall destinations outside of football.
So what do you, like, I can't imagine. I think we're all in agreement, and I can't imagine Napier makes it through the season. I know that they were talking about, well, the Texas game's the red shirt mark and blah, blah, blah. And, it doesn't matter to me when. I don't. It's to me, it's a question of not if, but when. But what is there a good time? Is there a right time to do it?
Does win matter, Chris? Does win matter when it comes to getting your next guy, making sure you get him?
I think win matters for a couple reasons. Win matters with how much of a season you have left and who you feel comfortable handing the program over to on an interim basis. I think that's one of the things that probably saved his job last year, was that there was not necessarily anybody that popped off the page as being the right candidate to handle the rest of the season. So not a whole lot of difference in the coaching staff from last year. I imagine that continues to be the case in one of the dynamics they're considering. I also think you got to think about the transfer portal, too, and
right.
when you do it, when that allows players to decide that they're going to go elsewhere. And the final thing you said was, how do you get out there first in the market for whoever you're looking for? I'm sure there's a lot of conversations happening, even though every coach would talk about being focused on the job they currently have. There's back channeling that takes place and trying to feel folks out onto what their interest rate might be. And I know there's always boosters and other people that are trying to make connections too. So there's a lot that I'm sure is going on behind the scenes, and that's what makes it the most difficult. I don't think anybody thought it was going to turn around last year, and it did. The chances of it turning around this year again like that, I think they have to be astronomical. And so we're all just waiting for the next shoe to drop, and then what will happen with the chain of dominoes from there.
I need your opinion on this, Chris Doering, because I'm so frustrated and ticked off. My patience has run thin with coaches
out
at our school. So I am now of the belief I'm no longer, you have to give them 4 years. You have to give them BS. All right? You can tell, Chris Doering, you can.
Year 2.
And on year 2, I'm going to come ask you, Signetti at Indiana. Yeah. He had a plan. Boom, he instituted the plan. They're 15-2. You can tell in 2, Chris Doering, can't you? Or am I wrong?
I think you certainly have a lot that you can tell. Particularly, I think one of the frustrating things at Florida was the storyline about the checkbook being opened, and here's the plan. This is what has to happen. This is all the money we got to spend in support staff and everything else. And for it to, again, man, how many times are we going to see, whether it's too many or too few, for whatever reason, we can't consistently get 11 people on the field. And that, you talk about all the money that's paying to support staff people. That's a basic football thing that you have to have under control. But, yeah, I would say, especially in this day and age, you could go out and accumulate so much talent in the transfer portal right off the bat. You can create excitement, and you feel like things are moving in the right direction. Like, I woke up this morning. My dog got me up early to go out, and it pissed me off. And then I was outside when it's dark, and I started thinking, like, I don't know why I'm thinking about this at 5:30 in the morning, but we're in Florida. There's not a time that we shouldn't be competitive in every single season that we play, and certainly in every single game. The lack of competitiveness is probably the thing that frustrates me the most. And so, yes, you should tell immediately whether or not you have a program that can compete with the rest of the teams in the SEC.
He's dumbed it down past the point of recognition. This is worse than the 70s and 80s Gator football going 6-5. It's just it's god awful. And also I will also add this, Chris, and maybe are we the only school in the country that can't pick a Saban assistant that wins? Every Saban assistant we get is dog do, and meanwhile Kirby Smart and Dan Lanning and Lane Kiffin, and they're all winning everywhere. Anyway,
The question I had to face on Sunday, I had somebody that's in our industry as well call me and say, look, you guys have had all of these coaches. It has to be institutional. And I said, well, how do you say it's institutional? I can't imagine it's institutional because you have the assets being allocated to the program, the facilities, the recruiting budget, the coach assistant pool. Like, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm too close to it, but I have to. I can't see what would be institutional. But I think you look at the last 15 years or whatever it's been. It seems like we are a middle of the conference at best program. So maybe there is something more to that. I don't know. I can't see it.
Well, they gave him everything he wanted.
He's not the right guy. He doesn't have the intelligence. I mean, that's on the AD, man. You got to recognize these things. It's like the AD doesn't get a pass. You don't have a lot of jobs, bro. You go interview people. You got to have the savvy to pick them. I know they've got a lot of jobs, but not for the fans. I mean, you got jobs. Pick the head coaches. And I'm going to say it again. The dude got lucky with Golden. He didn't even interview him in person. He worked. It's great. He did his homework. That's fine. I got this question for you, Chris. Last one. The corporate takeover of college football, has killed pageantry and rivalries and I really think in 5 years no one cares. It's about playoff and NIL money and NFL light. The Miami rivalry fell to that. The Auburn rivalry fell to that. They're never coming back, and now we can take two more off the list with no Tennessee and LSU as every year opponents. I get it. Not every school can have their wish list, and I also understand, like Dan is cool with having a couple of easier games rather than three marquee ones.
No easy games, but yeah, I'd rather.
But if it were me, I had my wish list. I'd go Georgia, Tennessee, LSU, or without one of them, I'd go Auburn. That's me. Where do you land on how the SEC, has configured their annual opponents?
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought for sure we would have Tennessee on there. Obviously, Georgia's a given, but I thought for sure we'd have Tennessee, and it would be a matter of, all right, what's the third one? A lot of people wanted LSU. I think I kind of wanted Auburn to be renewed with as great as that rivalry was when I was growing up and when I was playing at Florida, and the proximity of Auburn, Alabama to Gainesville, Florida made a lot of sense. The Kentucky one Kentucky and South Carolina, you're right. Like, I look around in terms of what the program maybe got from a favorable pool. It's much easier to navigate that than Tennessee and LSU, at least right now. Now, fortunes can change, and I think that's one of the things the SEC had to try to balance is what the 10-year snapshot is of all of these different teams. But whoever drew Vanderbilt, I don't necessarily know you want Vanderbilt on there anymore with as good as they look. So you're right. The pageantry, I hate the idea of I got to sit on this loss to our nemesis Peter Burns and not have a chance to get that back in the next few years. But yeah, I think tradition is one of the last things that we have, and I think it's one of the things that makes the SEC so great above and beyond other conferences. And I think in a lot of ways that tradition was further eroded, at least in the schedule that Florida had. I know there's a lot that the SEC is trying to manage, and so I give them credit for that. But I think there's going to be a lot of fans. The show was supposed to be tonight, but the news got broke by CeeLo early yesterday, and so I think there's upset fans. The Alabama LSU thing going away is a big deal as well. Yeah. But whoever the next coach is going to benefit from drawing Kentucky and South Carolina over Tennessee and LSU for sure.
Hey gang, Hicken here. Thank you so much for watching 1010XL Gators on YouTube. Before you click away, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and be sure to check out our other team-specific channels on the 1010XL network on YouTube. Appreciate y'all, Googans.